mixed emotions with it. You watch the amazing power from Mother Nature, but at the same time, you're watching people lose homes and businesses and everything else. So it's just incredible from all that happened yesterday. It was definitely a historic storm, but now it's time for the long recovery that follows this incredible storm.
And Brendan, really quickly, can you tell our viewers what are your plans today?
Well, here in a little while, we have a helicopter come pick us up. We're going to try and shoot video over Mexico Beach down the St. George Island area that's very difficult or impossible to get to by car right now. We know they took a big hit yesterday when
This is the 8 o'clock update. They just came on early.
Area, and the surge was really bad. So we're trying to get down there and see how bad it is in those areas, and we'll have the video for you guys here in 2 hours.
Okay, we look forward to seeing it, and do be safe out there. All right, the Carolinas are next. Now, we're not going to see the same impact in the Carolinas as we saw in Panama City and Mexico Beach, but unfortunately, the Carolinas and especially eastern South and North Carolina is still vulnerable. I hear the wind, and that's scary because I see all of the debris behind you as well, Andy.
This is what people were asked to do yesterday, and try and put tarps over their trash piles outside because of the wind and rain that are coming. There's a real concern that when the rain comes and the wind comes, it's going to push all that to clog up the drains, causing flooding in this area where wind was the problem during Florence. Still a lot of roofs. Let me see if I can get you over here to where you can see some of the roofs here behind me. A lot of those still have the blue tarps on them. So those tarps had to be resecured tomorrow. It's getting scary here, and no rain yet. Wind's picking up. There's a lot of fear of what could happen here if we get any strong winds, and it really looks like they're coming.
Andy, really quick, what are your plans for today? Where are you going to go?
I'm going to keep my eyes open, talk to you guys a lot. There's a lot of tornado watches that I want to keep an eye on. And we could end up back near the Myrtle Beach Conway area that got hit so hard. So a lot of things are open right now, and we just got to stay on our feet.
Okay, Andy, we'll check back with you throughout the day. All right, Michael, the third strongest hurricane ever to hit the United States, only behind Camille and the Labor Day hurricane that went across the Florida Keys. Continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Michael continues. Stay with the AccuWeather Network.
Hang on, guys. I got here a little too late. It'll replay here in a minute. They surprised me and put that up immediately. Seriously? 7:53 a.m. The 8 o'clock report will be ready in 6 minutes, if not sooner. And I think this will be the last report of live stream. I will keep an eye on it. I will do updates with tornadoes, flash flood warnings as they come in. I saw today we've got another cyclone warning, Tilly, I think it is. I got to keep an eye on that one. I want to see where it's going, where it's located. I just saw it on the disaster app I have. That's Cyclone Tilly. Hopefully they don't run commercials the whole time. Here we go. No, that's local.
Hey there, Washington, D.C. Here comes the rain. We're going to be talking about some gusty showers again as we go throughout the day. That potential for some thunder as well. Daytime high temperature, pretty warm. Hey, we're boosting up
Hang
the
on.
mercury and the humidity. more like September. not
Washington's
even
going to get
maybe
some
late
of this,
August,
believe it or
at
not.
least with regards to the humidity. So what's going on? Pretty active regime setting up here. Potent front coming into place, but that's not all. Michael working its way throughout the Carolina as we venture our way into the afternoon hours, and all that moisture is going to move its way in as we venture our way into the evening. Hence the flash flood watches. In fact, lots of warnings going on throughout the Carolinas right now. But notice how this area begins to shrink in width as we go through time. What's happening is the front's catching up and starting to push everything further east. So not as wide of a swath of flash flood watches once it gets this far north in latitude, but still looking at some impacts nonetheless, especially here as we talk about
We're under
areas just
warnings in
east.
Virginia Beach.
And that's not only with rain, that's also with wind. The winds here are going to be quite gusty. Delmarva, southeastern Virginia as well, where there are high wind warnings around Virginia Beach. Could be talking about winds here out of the south and the east, upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour in gusts. Some very high winds could produce some wind damage. The onshore flow also concerning for beach erosion and coastal flooding. So high impact weather coming up here. Even some locally gusty winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour out toward Richmond could produce some scattered power outages. We're talking about the risk for severe weather as well. Slight risk for today that could include damaging winds and ice tornadoes, and even a marginal risk of severe weather right into the metro. And pretty active, right? Coastal Virginia for today. Again, the rains will become increasingly heavy as we venture our way toward the afternoon. Daytime highs into the mid-80s. Baltimore Metro looking at the windswept rains as well coming
We're
into
just going to
place.
let it play, guys.
Front interacts, and then another bulge of moisture later on this evening and into early tonight. Northern Virginia. Again, take the rain gear for today. I would take along the umbrella and the rain jacket, perhaps a good rain jacket here. The umbrella, a little difficult to navigate at times with the gusty breezes in the DC metro. Ponding is going to be a possibility. So again, we've already had some downpours this morning. There's the front, but notice Michael's moisture streaming in as we venture toward the evening hours. We're going to be talking about locally torrential rains with the potential for a couple of inches of rain. Greatest amounts that could include several inches will be out toward the immediate shoreline. Tonight's lows drop into the 50s. And again, we could hear a couple claps of thunder as well. And then things change. Michael departs. We cool things off, quiet things down, mid-60s for tomorrow, Saturday. Might feel a little more like November with a shower around. We're barely at 60, and then quiet weather continues into next week.
The military uses new
They are saying here in Virginia Beach, once it leaves land, it's going to head out to sea and go east, possibly build up strength and head for, believe it or not, Spain and France. Like I said earlier, I will, whoops, sorry guys, the dog bumped the table. I apologize. Like I said earlier, I will be keeping track of this on 2 weather apps, the disaster app and the National Weather Service. They'll put up tornado warnings, high wind warnings, if any, and coastal flooding, which I'm sure South Carolina and North Carolina are going to have. Our prayers definitely go with them. We've got till the end of November to stop all these hurricanes. We'll be out of hurricane season here in this area. These areas, I should say. Here we go.
Well, just devastating damage in the Florida Panhandle. This is Panama City scenes yesterday. You could see buildings completely flattened, lots of trees down, power lines down, still lots of power outages
2 dead.
across Florida as we wake up this
So
morning.
far.
Lots of roof damage as well. The storm surge wasn't
A young
as great
girl
in Panama
and a man.
City, but the wind
2 different
damage,
locations.
it is extensive, it is devastating, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we have crews on the ground in Panama City. We have crews heading toward Mexico Beach here this morning. We also have crews in North Carolina as they are getting ready for wind and rain. Thanks for joining us here at the AccuWeather Network. Meteorologist Bernie Rayno, along with meteorologist Regina
J.A.,
Miller
is that
and
you?
Justin Povick. We'll keep you updated through the morning hours. Wind was a huge problem yesterday, devastating winds and storm surge. Today it is more about the rain. There's the winds right now. We haven't seen much in the last 24 hours across parts
This
of
is
the
the 8 o'clock
Carolinas.
update.
But rain, we've seen lots of it, including in parts of Georgia. Atlanta picking up quite a bit of rain. Also, take a look at what happened last night in Eatonton, Georgia. This is to the east of Atlanta where the rain was coming on down. Lots of reports of 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. And the rain continues to fall very heavily this morning. All kind of flash flood warnings are out across western parts of North Carolina. All right, the center of Tropical Storm Michael between Columbia and Augusta. The rain band that we're watching is north of Columbia into the upstate of South Carolina. Let me put on the flash flood warnings. Here they are just to the west of Hickory, but it is raining exceptionally hard right now in Charlotte, in Rock Hill, toward Columbia. These blinking green boxes, again, these are the flash flood warnings. In lots of cases, we've already seen 3 to 4 inches of rain. In the Carolinas, well, they are gearing up for showers and thunderstorms today. Right now, Regina, it is relatively dry, just some isolated thunderstorms, but things are going to change, and I'll tell you what, the wind is going to pick up as we go through the afternoon.
Right, Bernie, and we have, right now, we are into Wrightsville Beach, and want to see what's going on there right now. What do things look like? What's the mood been there?
A lot of stress watching this path. We don't know which way it's going to take. We don't know how much wind we're going to get here in Wilmington, but as you can see behind me, we're not ready. These light gusts have sent some of this, the insulation around the neighborhood, and it's only going to get worse. Rain hasn't started yet, but that's coming as well. When the rain hits some of this with the wind, it's just going to wash it down the road, clog up drains, and cause a lot of flooding issues.
That's in North Carolina.
Let me tilt up here a little bit so you can see the roof behind me too. Also a big concern is these blue tarps on the roof, which are gonna, with these strong gusts that we're already getting, there's a real concern those are gonna fly off and rain's gonna get back into these homes again, which already have such excessive mold damage. And then as you saw from the map too, it could also hit more in the Myrtle Beach area where the Conways have so much river flooding right now. So a lot of things we're keeping our eye on, as well as tornadoes. So much going on out here, and it's just gonna get worse.
So, Andy, when people have been talking to you, what have they been saying in advance of this has been their biggest concern?
Just a lot of people just took boards off of their homes and aren't ready to put them back on yet.
That's
So the
from
biggest
Hurricane
concern
Florence.
is what's going to happen with all
That's
this
the
on
debris.
streets,
Now they gotta
where
deal
it's
with
gonna go
this.
when this rain and wind come. But then at the same time, people are saying that, well, we just handled this and the lighter trees are already down. We don't feel like there's going to be much damage. That's what one neighborhood will say. Then you go to the next neighborhood and people feel completely opposite. So it's just a lot of uncertainty around here.
Okay, and I'm sure that there's concerns because with the saturated ground and the root systems there with some of those trees, that there's also that concern for power outages to become more widespread.
Very, very true. That's one of the many things that just, I mean, we're just constantly keep.
Thank you for reporting there in Wrightsville Beach. Andy, and you're heading to Wilmington again a little bit later?
I am. I'm going to check there the 9 o'clock live shot here, see what the conditions are there. A lot of down trees along main roads there too. I mean, they just haven't had a chance to get everything cleaned up yet. And it's obviously not going to happen before this comes. So everybody's just keeping an eye on what's already happened and what's going to happen now.
Okay, thanks so much, Andy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, and also we have power outages. That's the other problem that we're dealing with is the storm went through Florida, Georgia. So right now in Florida, we have over 340,000 people without power. In Georgia, over 320,000 people without power. In Alabama and South Carolina, we have some power outages there as well that are not insignificant. So we are still dealing with that. Also, as you mentioned, Bernie, we have numerous flash flood warnings in effect for central and western South Carolina, North Carolina. That's on the western side of this storm, tropical storm.
They've increased
Michael.
those
And
flood
so
warnings.
What do you expect for folks on the eastern side and in these areas where we could still be dealing with flooding on the western side?
Yeah, major travel delays, and as we saw with Andy, the wind already starting to pick up in eastern North Carolina. And to me, Regina, what was frightening was the big mound of debris behind Andy. You could see it's not covered. 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts, which I think are easily attainable in that area. That's going to take a lot of that debris, and it's going to become flying projectiles later
Right.
today.
And the mold as well.
Yeah.
Just the ongoing wet conditions for them, and they're fighting that mold.
All right, wind is a problem, certainly, but the rain, as you mentioned, is a bigger problem. And the rain is widespread here this morning. We have rain falling across parts of Pennsylvania and New York State, but boy, that heavy band of rain that we continue to track is from Charlotte, Hickory, Kingsport toward Greenville. And you can see how it continues to wrap in on the northern side of Tropical Storm Michael. Now, as Michael continues to move to the northeast, the northern side is where we're going to get the heavy rain. The southeastern side, that's where we have isolated showers and thunderstorms and the possibility of severe weather. Let me show you a futurecast so we can track that heavy rain on the north side of Michael as we go through the afternoon. And there it goes toward Greensboro, toward Raleigh, eventually in the southeastern parts of Virginia. And let me tell you something tonight. Along the Delmarva Peninsula from Ocean City, Maryland toward Norfolk, there is going to be a soaking rain and wind gusts that will probably be stronger from Norfolk toward, let's say, the southern Jersey Shore than what we're going to see in eastern North Carolina. We'll see gusts tonight around 40 miles per hour. Heavy rain, 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches in that dark shade.
My local news is saying 55.
In the area still vulnerable from Florence, probably a couple of inches of rain with strong gusty winds. And this is the area where we're going to have major travel delays today. All of the Carolinas and then southeastern Virginia tonight. Rain, wind, down trees, power lines. Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated. Continuing
All right,
coverage.
Lance.